Okay. Welcome, guys. Happy Friday. I feel like these weeks are starting to fly by a little bit, aren't they? Hopefully, anyways. I just looked it up. We are on geez. I looked it up and then I already forgot. What are we on? Is it day 60 something? 63. We're on day 63 since I've entered isolation. How crazy is that? And Jill and I were talking about how thank God for you guys and thank God for our Friday nights because it makes the week have a bit of structure and it just brings a little excitement to us. So thank you guys so much for joining us every week. Don't you agree, Jill? Or can you hear me?
I do.
Perfect.
I do.
So
it does. It helps me get through the week. Look forward to something to do. So.
I know. Absolutely. So the other thing I wanted to say tonight is this week we have completely family friendly our Peacock painting. It is a full hour and a half long. So bear with us. It's a little bit like the elephant where like it'll be rewarding in the end, but it will take a while to get there. You guys will get there. Don't worry. And then the other thing is we have our Guinness event next week. We're so excited. If you guys need more supplies, like some people just need brushes or whatever, just whatever you need, just get in contact with us and let us know so we can make sure we can hook you up with whatever you need. And as well, if you're going to order supplies for the Guinness event next week, make sure you order them today so I can make sure I get them out to you in time. So that's next Friday at 7 p.m. That's a ticketed event, but the beauty of that and even the supporter tickets that were bought tonight, it allows us to donate to our charity. So next week's charity is going to be the IMNDA again, Irish Motor Neuron Disease Association. What else? I always feel like I have a spiel for you guys in the beginning, and then it's all about the fun painting part. And then the week after, we're actually going to take the week off because it is my birthday, but more importantly, it's the bank holiday for all of you. And we have a ton of 30th birthdays and private events on the 27th, 28th, 29th. So it's brilliant to see you guys are all kind of coming together and still kind of doing private events with us, no matter the occasion. So it's lovely to see. So we'll be away on, I think it's the 29th, we'll be off, but then we're back the following week. So, which is a family-friendly event. Right. You guys know the drill. As you do, make sure you post all the pictures right now of your setup, whether it's your jug of wine, whether it's your children painting a side view or with crayons, whatever it is. We love, love, love to see it. So go ahead and tag us, Paint by the Pints, on Instagram or Facebook, and we'll get sharing, make you guys Insta famous, as we always promise. Right. That's enough talking for right now. Let's get started. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's good.
Awesome.
It looks complicated, but again, it's not complicated. It's just simple shapes and lots of layers. So that's what's going to take the longest amount of time today. Is just the layers.
Mm-hmm.
So
I guess in that,
but it's good.
We'll have the hair dryers at the ready, right, guys?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my favorite. We get all the boomerangs of the going 90, all the hair dryers. It's brilliant. Right. Will we tell Stephen we're ready to get started? Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good.
Hit it, Stephen.
All right, so as always, we've got our variety of brushes. We're going to be using the same colors as we always do: red, yellow, blue, black, and white. And just get them all prepared and out and ready for you on your palette. We're going to be using a lot of white, and our base color is going to be pink color. So make sure you have enough white and enough red to make enough pink to cover your canvas as a base color. So yeah, I'm just sitting here filling up my palette. So we're going to start with our large brush. I think I picked up my medium just to mix the color, but we're going to end up using the large brush to fill in the background. So pink color is just red and white. And I'm using a little bit at a time, and that's just what I do. I have no excuse for myself. I know it's a large space, but you're going to need a lot more than what I'm making. So double what, or even triple the amount of color that I'm mixing here. But it's going to be like a medium to light pink, and I'll actually even put a tiny little bit of yellow into it to give it like more of a coral color. But at the end of the day, you don't have to put in that yellow. It's just a background color, so that the feathers really kind of stand out, and you won't just have like a blank white canvas in the background. So here's that little dab of yellow. But like I said, at the end of the day, that the amount of pink that we need, that little tiny bit of yellow is not really going to make a difference. I think I was just kind of playing around with the color at this point, seeing what works, what doesn't work. And here I'm making some orange. And I'm going to make some dark orange. I'm going to make some medium orange. And I'm going to make some light orange for later on. And you can just make those different gradients of color by adding more yellow to it. And this way, we just don't have to do it later. And it'll stay wet long enough. It'll be fine.
The other nice thing about this, Jill, is like I know a lot of people are like, I've run out of my white. And that's the one thing I'd say that we're going to probably have to work on is getting extra white out to people is if you run out of a color, just get creative. This painting is these specific colors that Jill's showing you, but if by all it means, like it could be purple. Don't feel like, oh, I've run out of the colors, so I have to give up. Just get creative. It's completely fine. And even colors like yellow are nice and light. So it'll give you a chance to create something nice and light.
Yeah. And here I'm making just different shades of green. So dark green, a medium green, and a lighter green. And we're going to be using a lot of this color as well for the feathers. And it's just going to be a fun painting. I'm really quite excited for this one. I think peacocks are gorgeous, and every time I see one, you've got to stop and see if it fans its tail feathers out. So no, it's fun. This will be a fun one. Like I said, it'll look hard, but it's really, really not. So now I'm just cleaning my brush out really well, getting all that excess paint, and then putting it down so that the paint doesn't dry on my brush and ruin my brush. And here's where I'm taking the big brush and I'm going to start on the background. And I'm kind of starting in the middle and fanning it out. And from the center up and out, and then just filling it all in. I'm kind of doing it this way because this gives me a visual of where the center point is. So I don't really have to kind of work it out later, but I'm going to end up filling the entire thing in anyways. So if you can kind of keep an eye on that center line, great. If you fill it all in and lose track of it, we can find it again later. But this is just one of those time takers where you're just kind of just filling in the background. You're just going to paint all of it from corner to corner, side to side. If you feel like your paint isn't covering well enough, always add water to thin it out. And it'll help fill it in quicker. It'll dry quicker. And we're just filling it in.
By the way, I love
It doesn't.
people writing in the chat. So if you're on the YouTube chat and you're signed in, you can actually write to us. And if you have any questions, obviously, just shout, let us know.
Yeah, this doesn't have to be a solid single color pink. It could be streaky. That's not a problem. As you can see from the little thumbnail in the corner, by the end of the painting, you're not really going to be seeing a lot of this pink in the background. So the neatness and the perfection of this doesn't matter. It's just a background color in case there is any of that background showing through the feathers. Sorry about that rustling. The dog's getting comfortable.
Aww. We did get quite a few asks for animal themed paintings, hence the peacock, but there might have to be further thought into that, Jill.
That's fine with me.
All the animals, please.
I can paint animals.
Yeah.
When they start asking me for their portraits, then I'm like, no, I don't think I could do that.
The one thing that's actually fun for us as well, while you're filling in the rest of that pink, is Jill and I are in the process of picking out the next couple Guinness paintings for you guys. And the fun part for us is that we're working directly with the Guinness archivist, Jess, to
I wish.
I know. Jill's like in another life. Yeah, that's gonna be me. Watch out, Jess. Poor Jess is like, oh man, they're gunning for my position. No, we couldn't be next to near as brilliant as she is at what she does.
She needs an assistant.
Yes,
I'm available.
Absolutely. Yeah, exactly. So Jess is helping us come up with some really brilliant ideas. And then obviously, because they are what they are, they're Guinness classics from the archives, they have the most amazing stories behind them. So I'm so excited for next week and just the rest of the Guinness series. It's such a cool experience. I don't know. I hope you guys are enjoying them as much as we are, to say the least.
Yeah, I hope so too. I have some ideas for that. I need to remember to tell you.
Yes.
I'm afraid I'll forget. I thought of it earlier today and then I forgot to text you.
I know.
I'm gonna write it down so I don't forget later.
Perfect. We'll keep you guys on your toes. We, as always, will announce the painting ahead of time so you guys know what's coming down the pipeline. All right. That's
all right.
satisfying.
So if you are finished with your background, that's great. This is where you can take out your hair dryer and give it a quick dry if it's tacky.
There's some really cool, while you're doing that, there's some really cool kids paintings that you guys can do with hair dryers. So if you have kids and you want to keep them occupied next week during what would be normally school time, definitely write to us and I'll send you guys a few different ideas because yeah, there's endless possibilities and it's all going to be stuff that you guys have in your cabinets already. So don't worry about not having the supplies and all that. It's pretty amazing that you can still see the center line, just the way that you've painted that.
Yeah, I mean, I think because it's streaky too, it's not like a solid, pure pink color. And the brush strokes as well, like you can still see the physical brush strokes. So like I could, not you can't on here, but yeah, with those little streaks of white and stuff, it just kind of, makes it that, gives you that imaginary center line. And not that we're going to be using that specifically, because I don't think there's anything specifically in the center that we're going to be kind of going to, but it just kind of gives you a point of reference. So Now what we are doing is just taking a little bit of white and watering it down. And this is the only time that you're going to need the center line. And you're just going to put a little tiny white dot there where you can see. And then we're going to go just left of center on the top there. And it doesn't have to be an exact location, just a roundabout area. And you're going to make an oval, and it's just going to be on a slight diagonal. So it's going to be like just like that. So you're not like an oval top to bottom or left to right. And then from the top of that oval, you're going to go down along the side of that center line and kind of swoop underneath of that lower point. And then on the underneath part of that that oval is the front of the neck. And you're just going to go parallel to that back neckline and going all the way down and off of the canvas. So now, instead of a peacock, it looks like a dinosaur. I was going to name the dinosaur, but I couldn't think of it, if it was a stegosaurus or a brontosaurus. And then this oval line is going to go up and over that center point and down off the canvas. And this is going to be the body. And these are quick sketch lines. These are not like a specific place or area. It's just a quick sketch line. That's why I'm kind of going quickly. This line is going to be the kind of cluster of feathers. So that body part is about the size of my hand, and then that upper body cluster of feather part is, again, the size of my hand on top of that. And then the space there, as you've seen, was the width of my finger. And now that you have the head and the body in, we're going to start putting in the tear shape part of the feather. I think they're called the eye of the feather. And they're just randomly kind of placed going around the peacock. And the points of those are going to be somewhat pointing towards the center part of the peacock. And there's not an exact number. I don't even know if I counted mine. It's just wherever you kind of feel like you want to fill in that space.
I would say with this as well, less could be more. You can always add in more.
Yeah, you can definitely over cluster them too. So, I mean, it's just wherever you feel is a good balance of those feathers. And they're going to be about the size of the head that you had drawn as well, which is probably the length of your thumb, give or take. And it's, like I said, it's just that watered down white paint, just to kind of give you an idea of where the space is, what you're going to be painting.
Do you want to know a fun fact about peacocks, Jill?
Yes, always.
Peacocks are male, and the females are peahens, which is so cute because then their babies are pea chicks. How cute is that?
Oh,
I learned that.
I don't know if I've ever seen a
yeah, I was just
peacock.
Researching about peacocks casually. Yeah, they're such beautiful animals. I'm trying to think of the last time I saw one up close. Probably on holidays. Did they ever have those in Malahide?
Yeah, Malahide Castle has two, I think.
Yeah.
A female and a male.
And I think they kind of rule the roost there, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Sometimes they go into the building because they're in the gardens.
Oh, wow.
And so whenever somebody walks by the doors to get into that little museum area, the door is like a motion sensor. So if the peacocks walk by, the door will open. And sometimes when it's like the last time I was there, it was raining and they all went inside because they didn't want to get wet.
That's hilarious. Yeah, they're like, I'm going in.
Yeah. So as you can see, we're well on our way into just painting over those feather eyes with just a thin whitewash. And we're going to be doing this to the eyes, and we're going to be doing this to the upper body part, that big massive half oval behind the body. So this is the time consuming part, because we have to fill all these in with white, then we have to fill them all in with, I think I did it in orange, and then we got to fill it all in again. Like, we're going to be doing this so many times. There's so many layers on this, and that's why this painting's taken so long. It's just that there's just so many layers. It's not a hard painting, it's not a hard drawing, it's just layers after layers after layers. So yeah, after you're done with that last eye, we're going to fill in that large area.
The nice thing about whitewashing this area is that the color then that we put on top once it dries will be really vibrant. I know there's people sitting there like, I don't have white, not enough white to do this. That's okay. You can do a different color on top. It just won't be as vibrant, and you might see the pink through, so you might have to do a few layers.
Yeah, or if you only have a little bit of white, if you don't fill it in, you can add a little bit of white to your yellow, which is what color we're eventually in this section. If you add a little bit of white to that yellow, it helps that yellow to be less translucent. So a couple layers of yellow with a little bit of white will help build up those layers so you won't see through it. Where if you just put pure yellow on top of that pink, it will just, the yellow is translucent, so it'll come out a little bit orange, which is fine as well. So it's not going to mess it up. It's just going to be a different color peacock than mine. It's you know. So I was going to move on to doing a layer of yellow on this, but my white was a little bit tacky, so I'm just giving it a quick hair dry.
Hair dryer is going to get a lot of action tonight between steps. There's a lot to do.
Yes.
So I'm looking at some of the Instagram stories coming in, and I can see one of our number one fans is back, Karate Paul, my favorite. I am dying
Awesome.
to do karate class. So Paul, when you start your virtual classes, you got to let me know. I'll be your first person to sign up.
He's doing online ones.
Yeah, he's from Rothdown. Let's see, Rothdown Kenpo Karate Club. Got to check that out. We got to egg him on to do virtual classes, though, Jill. It's my dream. Yeah. Artist gone, karate master. It could happen yet.
Good. I knew a lady who was in her 50s and she had a black belt, so it can happen. You got time.
Good. I like it. At first you didn't sound convinced, but now I'm thinking you're going to believe in me, so that's good.
Yeah, I do believe in you.
Thanks, Jill.
So yeah, we're just filling in that back area in the yellow, and this is going to take a couple of layers of this yellow, because like I said, it's a translucent color. So if your white that you put in wasn't a solid, strong white with no streaks in it, like, then you're gonna still see those streaks, as you can see. So this is gonna take a couple layers, but we'll get through it. So we are going to start on the feathers here, because we're doing the feathers and then we'll do the eyes on top of the feathers. So if you go over the eye shapes with the feathers, don't worry about it. We'll just paint over it. So finding, we're going to start from the body and kind of pull it up to that eyelet and pull it around. And your brush is going to be like a streaky blue and white. And it's going to be like, actually, I think I'd use the dark green. But my blue is a cyan color, so it's like a turquoise color. If you have an ultramarine blue or a cobalt blue, your colors are going to vary. It's fine. But what I ended up doing is I dipped one corner of my brush in the dark color and then the other corner of my brush in the white. So that's how I get that streaky, stripy look. And we're just going to go from the body, we're going to pull it up and then around that shape. And we're going to do that for every eye. I'm just going to call them eyes. I don't know if that's the technical term anymore. That's just what I'm calling them.
I feel like our good friend Jessica Handy would know this. She knows more than just Guinness, surely. Like, if she knows about the Guinness animals, she might know about the peacock. We'll have to, we'll shoot her a text and say, Jess, what do you think?
And if you want to fill in some of that space, that's fine. You're going to absolutely overlap these. These are, you can't do them individual without them overlapping unless you only kind of put in a few and they're kind of scattered, where mine are kind of close. So mine are absolutely going to be overlapped. And that's fine, because I mean, the feathers on a real peacock are close together and they do overlap. And this is another time consuming part of this painting, because we have a lot of eyes to paint around.
Yeah, this part will take a little bit of time. Guess how long I did a just ladies' night last night, completely casual, fun, friends' night, private event. And guess how long we were painting for?
3 hours.
Very close. We were there for 2 hours and 47 minutes, I think, before I was like, all right, I think we could paint for the rest of the day and then all through the night and then all tomorrow, and we still wouldn't be finished. I'll have to show you guys at some point that painting. It was, again, one of those that just takes so much detail and time, and we didn't want to rush, so we kind of just took our time. It was really nice, actually. Very, very therapeutic. And as you can imagine, with any group of friends, there's hours of things to get through. So lots to talk about, never a shortage of conversation, which is lovely.
Yeah, that is fun. I mean, I could sit and paint for 6 hours and not even think about it, but
oh, exactly.
Being able to sit and paint with my friends and just chat, geez, we'd be there for, yeah, like all day.
Exactly. I'm just happy I've gotten my mom on board painting, although she's been doing markers, so I can't say it's quite painting, but
that's so cute.
It's the little steps. Yeah, exactly. I know, but the nice thing for us, like even doing Paint by the Pints when we first started, so many people are like, oh, that's such a great idea. Yeah, I'm not a painter. And I'm like, perfect. You're perfect. You're my target. Perfect target customer. You're a beginner. We're going to walk you step by step through it. And they're like, oh, well, so then I feel like finally you might see a friend go that doesn't have an artistic bone in their body. They come back with something that they're actually proud of. And then all of a sudden you're like, wait, hold on a second. If you can come out with that, maybe I have a chance. So then I could see like
Yeah.
groups of friends kind of growing at each event, which is so lovely. I still have to convince, a few friends. They're still not convinced that they could do it, but I'd say this one or the Guinness one. Guinness one next week will also be pretty step by step, so maybe that's a good one.
Yeah, I hear that every event that we go to. Oh, I don't know if I'll be able to do this. I'm like, believe in me. Like,
Yeah.
I can do this. You can do this. We all can do this. And yeah, everybody goes home happy and they're thrilled. And I try to make it simple. I try to make it easy enough. Break it down, simple shapes, simple brush strokes, and it's just layers. And that's what any painting is. It's just breaking it down to simple shapes and just layering it.
Yeah, exactly. And even now, I think it's nice to have like even like the art packs we've been sending out. People are happy that they have the supplies. Like depending on which pack they're getting, some of them are getting like literally exactly what we have in our normal Paint by the Pints class, down to like the brushes,
Mm-hmm.
And it's nice to be able to just recreate that at home easily.
So I did look up the peacock feather, and they are called eyes.
Oh, they are. I mean, that makes sense.
They're eye
They look
spots.
like them.
But yeah, because they look like eyes, which is fun.
That is really fun. I know. Now I'm like a deep Wikipedia. I go into a deep Wikipedia hole sometimes when I'm looking up something. You start looking at peacocks, and next thing you know, you're looking up like the age of Jennifer Aniston or something. How did I end up here? That would be a fun quiz night for friends if you gave 2 topics that were like the most random, like everything from like the root of a tree to, an electrical socket, and have them get from one to the other in the fewest amount of clicks and see who can get there the quickest with the fewest clicks. I think I've just invented a great game.
You like
Although,
your games and your
yeah, I was
quiz
just going to
nights.
say, everyone's probably like, Brittany's so nerdy. I would never do that. I love a good game night, though.
We like board games.
Yeah.
So we'll have board game night.
Yeah,
And we
we
play
have,
like Carcassonne. That's a good one. It's easy but like everybody can play it. It's a great game.
I have the Downton Abbey edition of, I think it's Cluedo. And I'm like, once I open it, I know I'm going to like open a can of worms of competitiveness in the house. So at what point is a good point to open it? Should we open it closer to when we can leave quarantine? Like, is it going to like cause uproar amongst ourselves? I'm not sure. I'm really excited to play it though. And
So I looked up facts about peacocks, and a family of peafowls is called a bevy.
Ah, that's very random.
I know. And they are not born with their fancy tail feathers. They don't start growing them until they're about the age of 3.
Ooh. I wonder how long their lifespan is actually. I have no idea. See, this is the thing. This is exactly what I'm talking about.
20 years.
No
there
more
you
questions.
Go.
I'm going to end up in a deep
years.
Wikipedia hole. I'm telling you, after this, I'm going to be like, how old do peacocks live till? What's the oldest
20.
peacock that ever lived? Did you ever watch Finding Nemo and you could see that the turtle lived to like 200 or something?
Yes.
I love that. That's awesome.
Peacocks were eaten in medieval times.
That's very sad.
But they don't have to be killed for their feathers.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's not nice. That's all I have to say about
just
that.
A fact. It was a delicacy.
Oh man.
It's suppose when you're in the medieval times and you've got uh,
There's a place in
not
the
as many
States.
options, I
I'm not sure
suppose.
if you had one near you. When I was growing up, I actually never went, but I've heard about medieval times. It's literally
Yes.
called medieval times, and you're supposed to eat with
We
like,
took the kids there. The
oh,
last
really?
time we went to the States, we took the kids there, yeah, in Baltimore.
There you go. You're supposed to eat without any forks or knives or anything, and just like eat with your hands. It's like chicken, like chicken on a stick or whatever. I don't know.
It's awful. It's awful. We were so mad our knight because he was just not into it. He was not fighting well. He was not doing a good job. He didn't win anything. He just sat there like with an attitude and he was grumpy. So
And you're like, this
our
is
whole
not good.
section our whole section started rooting for the other color. We abandoned our guy.
That's actually hilarious. There's so many things like that out there that you're like, that exists, but it does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I don't know if we didn't explain the guy part. You just explained the food where you eat with your hands. But you're sitting in this arena, and in the middle of this oval stadiums type seating is a sandy area where they bring out horses and knights and they fight, and they hold competitions and they do jousting, and it's a whole dinner and a show.
It is a whole dinner and a show. Although I feel like I've missed out by not going at this point. There's a few solid American venues that you have to go to. It's almost like a rite of passage. But it's the same with Ireland, I suppose.
Yeah.
I think as well, being I moved here almost a decade ago, and people are always say, you know, I'm Irish and you've been more places than I have in Ireland. And I'm like, yeah, it's because I came as a tourist and I stayed as a local. So, you know,
Yes.
you end up
I can
exploring
say
more.
that too, because we were only supposed to be here for 2 years. So we tried to pack in as much as we could in those 2 years and see as much as we could. I think I've driven around this island 6 or 7 times from Cork to Galway up north and like back again and everywhere in between. And yeah, I'm pretty sure I've seen a lot more of this place than a lot of people. And we'll go to Galway for like a day. We'll just do a day trip
Oh,
from
yeah.
Dublin to Galway and go have lunch. And the locals will be like, "Oh, how long you staying?" I'm like, "We just came for lunch. Like, we're
Yeah.
just here for the day, walking around. We'll be back." And
They're such gorgeous
but
places.
yeah,
So I see you've moved
so
on to your detail brush. I won't
I
interrupt you.
know. I'm like, "Oh, wait, we're actually doing something, not just chatting." So I took my small detail brush. If you just have a small brush, that's fine. And I just outlined the beak. And now I'm taking the smaller brush and just kind of filling that in with the true blue color that you have. You don't need to mix it with anything. You kind of want to keep it a darker blue because we're gonna build layers of lighter blue on top of that for the feathers. So this step is just filling in the beak, the head, the neck, and the body with that dark blue. This is such an IKEA blue.
I
It's such a
know.
bright, fun blue.
That tells you what a good brand that is, that's what you think of.
Right.
I did I was thinking about like Paint by the Pints earlier and like, you know, what our brand is and all that. And it's funny because my favorite color is purple by default. Like I love all colors, but purple, if I had to choose one, is kind of my go-to, I suppose. Like just since you're a kid, you know, you kind of have, oh, I like red or I like blue. Um, so anyways, everything I do tends to be in
Mm.
purple. Like I write notes to people that are ordering the supplies and like the notes in purple, and then like I wrap it up in purple twine. It's just like,
Uh-huh.
a lot of this is inspired by some of my favorite colors. So I was asking Steven the other day, you know, what do you think? And he's like, well, whatever you want. I'm like, well, I want purple, so I guess purple's continuing on for now. But there's not that many brands with purple. A lot of them go for like the blues and the greens. Lots of black and white logos. Yeah, I'm trying to think of
Yeah, there's a
like,
whole color theory. Like there's a whole
yeah,
emotional attachment to all these different colors. So
I
I can't think of what purple is right now. I just associated it with like royalty and things like that. So um
because I know like
I don't know.
green is supposed to be like either happy or healthy or something like that, and that's why a lot of banks use it because it's like healthy investments, good, happy, positive. Um,
Mm,
Blue can be seen as cold though sometimes, so sometimes they don't want to use that. Red is hard to, obviously red is like an alert. So unless you're
yeah.
trying to be like vibrant or thoughtful with what you're doing with your brand, red is often avoided by most of those kind of companies. Um,
Mhm.
Kind of
Or they
interesting.
use it very minimally. Like
Yeah.
it'll just be like the secondary color. Like McDonald's is when I think of McDonald's is always the golden arches and then I think
Oh
there's red
yeah.
in there. I want to say there's red in there, but I don't know. I haven't been to McDonald's forever, so I have no idea.
They just opened,
I
I
think I
think,
just saw.
or they're
I
opening.
think I think so. And I think that's why I thought of IKEA when I saw blue because the big announcement is that IKEA is trying to open up on Monday,
Oh
and
my gosh.
I can't even imagine the madhouse
Imagine
it's
trying to
going to
social
be.
distance in IKEA. I don't know.
Yeah, that's going to be impossible.
I think people will be excited to like imp the idea of getting your hands on that bookcase you've always wanted, and then you bring it home and you're like, finally, I'm going to be productive, and then you realize that the flat pack is missing like 2 screws, and you're just going to lose your mind.
Right? Because we've been sitting home for like two
Yeah,
and a half
63
months
days.
looking at all this stuff like, damn it, I need a
Yeah,
bookcase.
exactly. Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I'm because they sell those Ziploc bags. I don't know what the normal name is. Ziploc is an American brand for those type of bags.
Yeah, just like a sandwich
Um,
baggie.
yeah, like a sandwich baggie with the little plastic lock and whatever seal. And I buy them from IKEA because they're so cheap. And
Yeah.
I'm almost out of them. And I'm like, oh, I need some sandwich bags. Like,
Maybe they'll
I don't
deliver
know if
them
I
to you,
need them
Jill. We'll have to
that
inquire
badly.
about it. We'll keep you guys updated. Next week we'll let you know.
Yeah,
More fun
no,
facts
not
about
good.
peacocks, but also does IKEA deliver sandwich baggies? The hard hitting stuff.
Oh, and here's a fact that's a regional thing. I've only ever seen those bags in this IKEA. I've been to the IKEA in Switzerland and they didn't have them, and they do not have them in the States, at least not in the Pittsburgh store. Because when my parents came over to visit, they like on their last day, all they wanted to do was go to IKEA and just to see what the difference was. And she was so shocked that we had those sandwich bags. So my mom bought a couple boxes of these sandwich bags with IKEA so she could bring them out.
Listen, it's the things that are most important to you.
It was so funny. So again, this our conversation is getting away with us.
We're getting a little off topic tonight, guys. Sorry.
That's fine. That's fine. So what I did with this, if you were paying attention better than I was I did actually add a little bit of white to that yellow to make it more opaque and just did another quick layer over top of that. And just fill it in. And you can see how it's a little bit brighter. You don't see those white streaks through it. And yeah, we're just kind of doing a nice clean line on the outside as well.
Hey, Michelle. Hello, Joe. They've joined us via YouTube.
Nice.
Thanks for writing in the chat. Oh, and the color green obviously stands for money. That's why a lot of financial banking sectors go for that color. That makes sense. Thanks, Nancy, for pointing that out. The obvious.
Awesome. Yeah. True.
Going over my head tonight. Oh, that's brilliant.
So I'm picking up some green here just to kind of jump in between. And I'm just adding a couple green streaks on top of the feathers that we were doing, just to give it another layer of color. So you'll see some of the blue, you'll see the white streaks, and then just adding a couple green streaks on top of that will just add to that color and just the variety of those feathers.
This part's nice as well because if you don't blend the color completely into your brush, like on the canvas, if you kind of leave, I guess, pick the two colors, so it's going to be your blue and then the yellow, and leave a bit of streak in your brush, when you go onto the canvas, it'll give it that streaky look a little bit. And not that you need it too much, but you can see it happening a little bit with Jill's brushes. She's going in. She's got some like lighter colors flicking in.
Yeah, you don't want to blend this. You just want it streaky because, I mean, if you look at the feathers, they are very thin individual feathers. So you kind of want, I mean, I'm not going to ask you to take the little detail brush and brush in every little teeny tiny feather, but this kind of gives it that, just the idea that there are different layers of feathers. But yeah, if you want the darker blue and the white and then the green and the white, and it's it'll give you that feeling. And again, this is why this video is so much longer than the others, because you're painting feathers.
Yeah, take your time on this, guys. I know it's a lot, but I think that at least for Jill and I, we want to mix it up for you guys. Last week's was a quick one. You know, the Guinness one is going to be a little longer just because we have our special guests, which, by the way, really cool special guests in the beginning next week. And then again, we'll hear from the archivist. So I'm excited about that. But the actual painting, we kind of sketch out first and then get into the painting. So that will be probably, I don't know, the guts of an hour and a half again. But we'll try to mix in some simpler paintings as well. And like, I wouldn't say that this is a difficult painting. It's just a lot of detail. So stick with it. Take your time. I know I'm gonna get some notifications at like 11:30 tonight, like I finished, and that's completely fine. We love that.
It's a Friday. What
yeah,
better thing to do
exactly.
than paint
Where are
on
you
a
going?
Friday?
I know, and that's actually why that was one of the main reasons, right, Jill, when we were discussing the Guinness event, how like when we talked about it with our friends at Guinness originally, we were like, yeah, and then maybe we'd announce it on the stream, and um, they were like, yeah, okay. And then the more I thought about it, the more I'm like, how are people going to actually finish like in that time zone that we're giving you guys? Like instead of making it like a 2 hour window, why not give you guys days to do it? And also, like I said a couple weeks ago, we have a lot of you know, nurses, doctors, grocery workers, delivery people, they're all working crazy shifts around the clock these days to just be on the front lines. So they're obviously not able to join us on Friday at 7 p.m., but they're joining us later. We also have a lot of people in the States, especially the East Coast. We had someone from San Fran last week join. So it's honestly awesome, awesome to see, but you want to be able to just take your time. The point is not to be rushed. The point is to enjoy the process, go with it, and just, yeah, enjoy it. Take it all in. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's why what was it, Tuesday? Yeah, Tuesday is usually when we have you guys send everything in, that we have time.
Yeah, put on some music, grab another drink, just tuck in for the night and just know that you're in it till the end.
Exactly.
And I looked up your purple.
Oh yeah, what does it
Your
mean? Tell me.
it's a deep purple is visionary, rich, royal, prestigious, subduing, distant, and introspective. So when I'm painting mountains, or when we did paint the mountains, we gave them up that purple tint to it to make it look like it was farther in the distance.
Oh, that's cool. I just don't think you can go wrong with purple.
Yeah, no.
Is it just me? Like, I want you guys can tell me, like, what's your go-to favorite color? I feel like everyone has one. You have to ask Steven what his is. Do you have a go-to favorite color? Because, like, I don't want to make the other colors feel bad. Like, I like all colors. I just feel like purple's
Teal,
my go-to. Teal's your favorite?
teal or turquoise, that like that
Nice.
aqua, right in that realm of turquoise, teal, aqua. Like it always sticks out for me.
Yeah.
But I love green, and I love charcoal gray. It's such a weird color to like, but I love that charcoal gray.
That's like my go-to, like, hoodie. If I'm going to grab a hoodie or a jumper, or if, like, I'm buying one, I'm like, oh, that looks so nice. I'll get it in charcoal gray. We'll ask Steven what his favorite color is, and we'll report back.
Kevin's is yellow.
I know a lot of people that like yellow, and I get that.
Mm-hmm. Kevin is colorblind, so
Does he
yellow
know
is
what
one of the
yellow
few
looks like?
colors
So
that he can point out and say that's yellow.
okay, so maybe it's in his realm of his it's in his color house, so he can see it.
Yeah.
So he likes it. That's fair enough. Another really fun thing that we got to do this week is oh, by the way, we're painting in these little
The eyelets.
Yeah. Go back to the painting for a sec. We're using the same yellow that we painted in the body of the background of the lovely peacock.
Yeah, and this is just giving it a more solid base color because we're gonna paint several layers on these eyelets. It's gonna be the yellow, there's gonna be orange, red, dark blue, and then light blue on top of that. So we're gonna do one lap of the yellow, we're gonna do another lap of the orange.
Exactly.
So by the time we're done with the last one, the first one should be dry. And this is like you can paint over those feathers that kind of crossed over that line, so you can clean up those lines as well while you're at it.
Yeah, this is a good opportunity to just do any little touch-ups that you need. This is why it's nice to have like a medium or a detailed brush, because then you'll have the ability to get the right, I suppose, cover the parts that you want without overdoing it. Like the big brush would be too much here, I'd say.
Yeah.
Is this a night that we maybe name our painting? Do you have a name for your peacock? You have a while to think about it.
I don't have a name for my peacock. But every time I see a peacock, or like a drawing, not so much like a live peacock, but like a drawing of a peacock, I think of my daughter when she was little. One of her favorite movies was actually, she was obsessed with those Barbie movies.
Okay.
And I think it was Barbie the Island Princess or something, and there was a peacock on there, and he could talk and squawk and do all that stuff, um and she loved that. Like, she had the toy peacock that came with the Barbie. Like, she loves all this whole series of movies from Barbie. But
It's funny how like
um
certain things just stay through the decades. Like I think Barbie's gone through a lot of different phases of what it is as a toy, but like for example, like Elmo. Elmo's been around as long as I can remember, and even like my niece and nephew are about to turn 1 next month in just a short couple of weeks, and like they love Elmo. They love it, and it's funny because it's like I remember growing up and my little brother loved it, and I suppose I did too.
mhm.
There's so many programs like that that like just don't age. Even like, you know what's
I don't
really good is Disney cartoons, and I don't mean like Lion King. I mean like the picture cartoons from like the early 1900s, like the first ever Mickey Mouse. It almost looks like a flip book where it's like they're
Oh,
moving kind of.
yeah.
Yeah, those are so
Like
cool.
Steamboat Willie?
Yeah. I mean, like, it doesn't get better than that. I just think that it's a classic. And that was actually one of the things I was thinking of. Like, there's so many cool little things that you guys can do. And again, that's why I was saying, if you guys have kids at home and you need help entertaining them, please, please get in touch with us because we have endless ideas. It's really easy to make a little flip book, especially if you just have a spare notepad hanging around. You can use the corner of it and just go wild, create something really fun, like Mickey Mouse.
Yeah.
We're almost at the end of the yellow. This part, anyways, filling in this. But you see how, like, because we put the layer of white underneath, it was able to hold the yellow.
Yeah, it really pops. Especially with that blue and that green surrounding, with the feathers, that yellow is, yeah, it's so bright now. It's gonna stick out even more here in a second. When we add another layer.
Everyone's gonna be like, this will dry sometime next week. It's gonna be like an inch thick by the end of this.
Oh my god. But it's so worth it though in the end.
I
Like,
know.
just
It's
stick with this. It'll
our
be worth
excuse
it
to
in the
hang out with you guys extra long tonight.
end. So while that yellow is drying, we are going to make like a medium blue, and we're going to work on the feathers on the body. We're going to do the top of the head, a little bit underneath the eye, down the neck, and then on the top half of the back part of the body. And we're going to be, am I? No, crap. I lied. We're adding more feathers.
Just lying.
Don't kill me.
So the reason why we can add a bit more feather is we obviously had the blue, we had the green, and now just the tiniest bit. Don't repaint everything. This is literally just
Yeah,
to highlight that this is a feather.
highlights.
This is
Yeah.
where you're going to get the little flick of the wrist motion going, and you're going to get those lovely, small, very delicate brush strokes. And the key to this is always barely, you don't want to be slamming the brush down and having the entire bristles go flat out and make a really thick line. Just the tip of it, or just get that really nice flick of the wrist motion going.
Yeah, you're only going to add like 2 or 3, maybe 4 quick little strokes on each kind of section. And again, like you can see from the bottom corner, the right-hand corner, how much different that looks from the top section now with those blue quick streaks on it. Like it's such a small detail, but it does make that difference of giving it just a little bit more dimension.
I'm looking at our Instagram, Jill, and people have the most lovely setups. Like, I think they're like part-time professional bartenders because it's not just your typical like Aperol spritz. There's a rhubarb spritz. I never even heard of that. I don't even know how you get that. That's incredible.
That does sound incredible.
And they just look so appetizing. Wow.
So I'm in Donovan, and so I'm right next to Swords, and we ordered from a restaurant in Swords, and they delivered strawberry daiquiris. It was the highlight of my week.
Really?
Yes.
And like, are they still like frozen, or is it like they give you the ingredients, you make it yourself? How does that work?
No, it was a frozen strawberry daiquiri. Like I just took it out and started drinking it. It was so good. Yeah.
That's service. That's why I kept saying, like, I don't know if it exists yet, but it would be so cool to be able to like get a pint at your house. Like a truck pulls up and you have maybe like 3 or 4 options, and they just pour a pint out the back in like a disposable cup or something.
I've seen somebody do that. I don't know where
I don't
they're
know if
doing
it was like a
but
joke. Like I saw
like
a few
there's
memes.
No, like there's somebody in Ireland doing it. It was on was it on RTE or the Independent? Like it's just one of those Facebook scrolls that I kind of saw it and I just kind of laughed. Like you would never find that in the States, but it just made me laugh. So this layer, it's just a little bit of the lighter blue, almost like a white, and it's even less streaks than the other layer. It's just a couple here and there. So just these are truly like the highlights of the feathers.
By the way, do you want to guess what Steven's favorite color is? Because he's confirmed.
I think he's a green guy.
I'll tell you the one thing. It's never green. I was torn between guessing 2 colors. It's either usually red or blue, and he's confirmed it is in fact blue. Which means that we all have different favorite colors. His is more like a dark blue. Yours is going to be like a aqua teal.
Okay, so we're on to red now.
Oh, wow.
So the top half of these eyes, is going to be just the red, and it's just a true red. And you can see that there's a little bit of a curve to it, so it looks more like a crescent, like you're looking for that crescent type of shape. And you're just going to do that to the top of all the eyelets.
So we have the rhubarb spritz I was just talking about. Mm-hmm. That's Emer just sent them on Instagram, and she let us know that they're the same color as her water cup right now. So it's a very dangerous game, which is true. You'd be terrified to like dip your brush in the wrong one, especially when there's that much effort into it.
Totally done that though.
Oh yeah. But I'm sure it's happened already.
Paint is not toxic, so
yeah.
I mean, as long as you don't drink your whole entire water, if you do a quick dip, it's fine.
Yeah. This is such a nice color. Blue and orange is such a great mix. Especially like that navy blue nearly. You have the solid blue, that the body of the peacock.
They are opposites on the color wheel. So having that blue background with those orange eyes, that's what really makes it pop. And then the green, if you have green highlights with those red spots, that makes it pop as well. So we're just using the opposite colors on the color wheel.
I actually got a color wheel for some of the private events that we're doing. A lot of people like lots of colors, color questions, I should say, and how to create it, and whatever. And it's funny because it's like some of it is simple enough, but other parts I'm like, I don't even know how to start to answer that question. So I literally got a very detailed color wheel. I can show you guys actually. Sec. And it's funny because it's only pocket size, but it actually is quite helpful to be able to reference different things. Like especially if you're trying to make teals, there's all these different crazy colors you got to add in order to get that color that you're looking for. I'll show you. So I have my color wheel here, right?
That's great.
And you can literally spin it and it tells you the different shades of each color. So for example, if you want to create like that color there, you have to add these colors and all. It's funny, it's going the opposite way. I'd be a terrible weather woman. You know, the people that stand in front of the green screen and they're like, and the weather in the west. I'm like trying, I'm like, oh, it's here. But anyways, here, it's a cute little color wheel. And it allows you to basically make any color based on the absolute primary colors. It's not like you need, burnt sienna or whatever. And sometimes people get a little freaked out about not having the exact colors. And that's why I say sometimes when you run out of different shades, or like, obviously if you run out of white, that's tricky. But if you run out of certain green in your pack, well, you can make green. It's not a primary color, so it's easy enough to replicate, which is nice. And then as well, like it's nice to be able to make different shades. It kind of reminds me a bit, of decorating a house. When you got to pick the colors. Actually, I think all of you at some point, whether you admit it or not, have been painting a house, repurposed a bookshelf. Let's see, what else are people doing? Definitely made banana bread. I think quarantine is bringing out some of the best in people, I'd like to say, in the crafty DIY side of us.
I haven't made banana bread.
I haven't made banana bread, but I've been making some really good chocolate chip cookies, so they're dangerous.
I made cheesecake the other day.
Ooh. See, I have to limit how much I'll make a week. Otherwise, next thing you know, I've had like the batch will call for like 24 cookies, and like I'll give 2 to the family and then eat the rest myself. I'm like, no.
Yes. When I baked sugar cookies a few weeks ago. Do you remember the Loft House cookies from the States? The really soft cookies that you get at the grocery store with the icing on top?
Oh, yeah.
Do you have those in New Jersey?
Oh, yeah.
So I found the web recipe for it and I made them, and there were so many in this recipe that I ended up giving half of them to my neighbor. And they were like, these are the best cookies we've ever eaten, but we have to put them in the freezer so we don't eat them.
Yeah, that's actually a brilliant idea. We'll even lots of birthdays. I feel like we're missing a lot of birthdays. Oh, sorry. I'll let you talk about your orange, and then we'll go back to that.
Yeah, so underneath of that red, we are just filling in with orange. So you want it to be enough of a difference that you can see that there is definitely a difference between the red and the orange. So you don't want it too much of a dark orange or a reddish orange. You want it like a medium to light orange. So yeah, then we're just filling in the bottom half of those eyes. So you can go ahead, Brittany, and finish what you were talking about.
So I was just saying that, like, it's interesting since we're all obviously doing this together but apart. We're in our houses, and there's still a lot of like, birthday. Life isn't stopping. Everyone's still having a birthday. Um, People are having kids, anniversaries. Some people are like, a couple I know just got married on Zoom. Things are happening, and there's still things that we need to, I suppose, acknowledge or celebrate in some way. And so it's been interesting to see how businesses have really come together to get creative. And like, even like the smallest mom and pop shops who are terrified of computers or the internet, and they just want you to call them, and but they're not sitting in their shop. So it's really been interesting to see all the different businesses that have kind of got on board with um, allowing us to send a delivery, especially like to a local bakery, or like you said, getting strawberry daiquiri sent to you. There's just been so many cool little delivery services, both here in the States. I know, I'm sure Switzerland, where, Kevin's family and friends are based, like there's a lot of different services that you can kind of reach out to, which is fun.
Yes. It's been fun exploring them too, to see what's actually out there. And of all the shops that are online, I think the biggest complaint is that Penny's doesn't have an online shop. I saw some lady like completely going off on the fact that she needs pennies, she needs socks because she still goes to work. So she's running out of those black short socks that you can get for
Yeah,
3 euros a pack.
that is
She's
actually really
she's like, I
funny.
need my socks, Penny. Why in the world? She's like, I
Yeah,
need some knickers. I need some new pajamas.
yeah, they're huge
You need me
shop.
to
I'm
have
I'm
it
actually
online.
surprised. That's a good point. But even like McDonald's, I think, is opening up soon. Not that I would be an often, you know, McDonald's goer, but it's kind of interesting to see things starting to open a little bit, even if on
Yes.
an extremely small scale and on a very limited scale. But I'd say even the weather's getting a bit nicer. The weather's been nice, and I do
It
wonder what's
has.
going to happen with the leave insert weather. Will we or won't we get that still, even if the exams are canceled? I think we were talking about that last week, but at least if the garden centers are open, people can grab the odd, you know, bunch of flowers or whatever and kind of get busy in the garden outside, which is nice. That's also a nice gift to give someone, like flowers or something that they can kind of plant, a tree, something nice.
Mhm.
The hair dryer's back out.
We are going to dry the work. I would love to know if anybody's out there listening to us talk and try to fill in all this space with words and conversation. If you're listening to music off to the side as well, and if you are like, I love new music, like let us know what music you're listening to.
Yeah, absolutely. I I was telling my friends the other day that I get really into soundtracks. So like a new like TV series or a movie will come out, and then they'll have like pretty good transitions between scenes with like a good song, and it'll only be maybe 10 seconds or 30 seconds of a song, and then it fades out. But I've noticed that that's kind of my new thing, is like I'll find music through watching either a Netflix series or a TV series or whatever. Even like Normal People that just came out has been really popular. We watched a couple of the episodes, and then immediately I was like thinking, the acting's good, the premise of the whole thing is really good, the character development's amazing, but the music was like very, very well done. And it's funny because it's not something you normally think about when you're watching something. Like, I bet you could go through an entire movie, and then the next day I could say what song was in that movie, and you'd be like, I have no idea, I haven't thought about it. But yeah, you never know. There's actually some really good personally thought, very good songs in Normal People. So it's on. They always put the Spotify playlist up then.
That's funny because quick mention, we are filling in just blue dots, just to kind of, we're just kind of putting that blue dot over where the red and the orange kind of meet, and it's just a medium blue. And then but I mentioned that that's funny because you are the second person in 2 days that has mentioned Normal People, and I have not seen it.
Oh, really?
Yep.
I would say if you're a reader, or if you guys listening are readers, read the book first, because the author, Sally Rooney, she's actually based in Mayo. She's such an amazing writer in that it's not your typical book. The way she transitions between different people's thoughts and scenes is so interesting. Like, she'll have two different scenes going on in the same chapter, and so you read almost like two chapters at once, because they're kind of, I mean, I'm not doing it justice in describing it, but it's really good, and her writing style is quite interesting. So, you know, there's lots of positives and negative reviews out there, but just make your own decision. You got to give it a try, and then you can make your own. You can make your mind up. And then the episodes, there's 12 episodes on RT Players, the official way to watch it. I think they're on YouTube as well. If you're in the States, you can watch it on Hulu. But it's, it's nice because Ireland, there's not, there's a handful of movies that come out of Ireland and they're incredible and the actors are amazing and it's great. But this has just gone worldwide like crazy. And I think the main actor is just from Maynooth. He went to Trinity for acting school. The main actress, I think, is from London, the UK. But she puts on like a Sligo accent. So it's pretty entertaining. I think it's just nice to have a bit of new culture in there.
I've heard amazing things about it, but I just haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
So we are sticking with that same medium blue that we filled in with the eyelets, and we are just literally tapping the tip of the brush along the top of the head and down the neck, and then a little bit under the eye, kind of like where, if you could imagine, a cheekbone might be on a bird. I don't know if birds really have cheekbones, but so we're giving the birds.
I like to think that they do.
We have thrown some highlights on that bird.
Beautiful cheekbone on our peacock.
Mm-hmm. And then it's just down the neck, and then we're gonna just continue working our way down, and just these little taps. And as you get the feathers on the top of the head and things, they're going to be smaller. And then as you kind of work your way down, you can do like a quick brush pull to make those feathers kind of just a little bit longer. But you don't want them too long. You just want quick little chunky swipes just to give it just a little bit of a highlight. I think we're going to do 3 layers of this. So this is going to be a medium blue, and then we're going to kind of make it a little bit lighter, and then do another quick layer on top of that. And then like the highlights is just going to be just the minimal highlights, just a couple little dabs here and dabs there. So we're just, again, just going back and forth, and you're just literally tapping with the edge or the corner of your brush and just creating those layers. And again, like with the feathers and like with any other painting, when I just those layers, those different tones of the paint just really add that dimension to the subject and to your painting. And that's what makes it interesting, is just those layers of color, just the chunks of color. And it's very fun.
Cool. I love this part. It almost makes it look like it's glossy or fluorescent.
Yeah.
This is the kind of thing as well, like you can finish the painting today, and let's say in a month's time, in a year's time, you get your hands on some sort of kind of crazy paint, metallic paint, something like that. You could always add a quick layer on top and just make it pop.
Yeah, and if you go from like a large, say like the body is like a large solid blue color, and then your next layer is going to be just a shade lighter, and then you do a smaller area, and then your next layer is going to be a shade lighter, and then you do a smaller area. It literally makes the neck or the body or the head give that that idea or that look that it is actually curved, that there is, that it is solid, it has a curvature. And if you even go in with like a pure white and just literally do just a handful of dabs along the head or just a little bit along the neck and just a couple little spots on the tail, it almost looks like it's, you could almost give it like a glittery look to it, like, so it really kind of shines. So we're going back to the dark blue and we're just giving the top part of that spot, that light, that medium blue in the spot, just a little bit of a, it almost looks like a shadow, but it's not. It's just kind of just outlining the top part. And I'm tapping it because I feel like that was just the way that my brush is shaped. Because I'm using the filbert brush, so it has that curve to it. It was easier for me to just tap the paint on than to brush it in. So that's why I'm just tapping it. Because I just felt like I couldn't brush it in cleanly and get the edges very well. So it's whatever works for you, and it's trial and error. Like
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
kind of have to figure out like what you're comfortable with, how things work. It, something that works for me may not work for you, and that's perfectly fine. There's no right or wrong.
Yeah, even last night when I was painting, I purposely did a brush I don't normally use just to get used to it, get comfortable with it. Because I find myself in the habit of kind of having favorite brush types and sizes. Like even I'm so used to painting with a long handle brush that I'm like, well, there's nothing wrong with short handle brushes. So I got into painting with that last night. And it was actually so beneficial because by the end I felt like completely comfortable with it. I spent like literally 2 hours and 40 minutes or whatever using the short brush and doing all the little details that we put in. So it was kind of, it was nice.
Yeah, I don't use the fan brush. Like, I don't know what it is about that brush. I just don't like it. I'm not comfortable using it. I think it's completely useless sometimes. So,
Yeah, but like it's so funny because some people be like, "Oh, and then to get this, you have to have the fan brush." And like even I
I
know a lot
know.
of people, "Oh, hey, Aoife. Perfect. See, that's it. Everyone's just kind of joining as it works for them. That's perfect. We love seeing that. Even honestly, people are going to be watching this stream tomorrow and hearing us talk like, well, happy Saturday for whoever's watching this tomorrow. Happy Sunday if you're watching it on Sunday. That's completely fine. That's what it's for. But what I was going to say is, yeah, it's really nice, and we try our absolute best to bring in tips for you guys of things that you have at home. It's easy to be like, oh, well, to create that effect, you have to buy a palette knife, and then to create this effect. But like you saw a couple weeks ago, Jill just took out a card, like a plastic card, works just as well for the short time that you're using it. Now, if you were going to use it all the time, obviously, it's worth investing in a palette knife, but you have a lot of the supplies at home. You just don't even know. They're right under your nose, which is really kind of cool.
Yeah, that's what I tried to do. We did put the light blue dots like in the middle of those eyes, so not to skip over that by any means, but I literally just took a small brush, grabbed some light blue, and just dabbed a dot in the middle of those eyes. Now we're just picking up some of the medium to dark green, and we're gonna fill in that middle yellow section, and it's literally just the tip of the brush and just a slight curve, and we're just filling in that space, and it's just to make it look like the cluster of feathers that are in that area. But back to your card thing, like, I mean, I have palette knives, I have them here, but I know that the majority of you all don't have it. So like I'm not going to tell you to go get a palette knife for one painting if I know that you all are beginners or you're just getting comfortable with your brushes and stuff. And I certainly wouldn't ask you to go buy a knife
Yeah.
just for that one. So like yeah, I just literally like walked around and I'm like, I just need a hard straight edge. What's a hard straight edge? What can I use? And I'm like, I've got so many of these like
Loyalty cards.
customer
Yep.
loyalty cards, like, and that's perfect. And I mean, like, the paint just wipes right off, so you can go back to the shop and use it again. It's fine. But like, yeah, we try to keep in mind what everyone may or may not have, and I mean, I know that the majority of everyone kind of, I always try to use just the red, yellow, and blue colors because that's what we've always used for all of our events. So
Right.
I don't want to venture out of those colors in case somebody might not have a color, with the
Yeah.
exception of last week when I used the purple. Um, but yeah, I mean, I just try to I'm always trying to think of what you guys have or what you guys can do. Um, so now that the screen is completely changed and we filled in that back section of the feather section, and if this is too fast for you, obviously you can pause it as we always say. But what we're gonna do is just work on the face, and I changed the camera angle because I wanted you to see what I was doing, and I felt like the other angle, you wouldn't have gotten a good sense of what I was doing. So we're making brown, and that is a little bit of red, yellow, and blue. It's a nice neutral um, brown color. And I added the white to it to check to see what type of brown it was, because it was too dark for me to really kind of see if it was a reddish brown or a greenish brown. Um, so you just kind of have to work your way through that to see what you're kind of comfortable with. Once you're kind of happy with your brown, you're going to paint over the beak in that color, and you're just going to fill that in. And in the center of the beak, you're going from the top, you're going to kind of curve it in towards the eye a little bit, and then curve it back in towards the bottom of the beak. And you'll see here in a second, after I fill this all in, you'll see that shape. See, right there. Came down, curved it in just a little tiny bit, and then curved it back, and then down towards the bottom. We're filling that in. And then we're going to take a little tiny bit of black, and we're just going to draw that line where the beak opens, and then a little triangle there for the nostril. So here I'm making like a gray, and we're just going under that black line and a little bit over, and we're just kind of filling in. And it's like a lighter gray, so you want it to be slightly lighter than that brown. And I added some blue and white to make it like a bluish gray color. And then some more white to lighten it up a little bit more. And this is going to be like the highlight color. So we're going on the top of the beak. We're going atop of the nostril and a little bit behind the nostril and around that section. And just going to fill in that in. And this is just the highlights.
I got asked yesterday, Jill, at my private event, what do I do with all the paintings that I have? I was like, I have stacks of hundreds of them. And we've always talked
Yeah.
about repurposing them, so we might have to go back to that conversation again. There's so many cool things. You can repurpose canvases all the time. You just need the gesso paint.
Yeah. So the eye here, we did the outline of the eye in black, and then I took a little bit of that gray, and then I'm filling in the corners of the eye in the front and the back. So you can almost kind of see that there is the circle for the pupil of the eye. You want the corners of your eyes to be gray and not white, because I think if you had put in the white would just be too stark, too bright. It would really stand out and look completely like it doesn't belong. And then you fill in the eye part, the pupil color part of the eye, with that brown. I chose brown just because it was there, basically. And then I fill in the iris with the black. Is that right? Is that the iris the black part? Is the iris the
no idea. We must have a doctor. Do you know how there's sometimes, if there's like a medical emergency, they could be like, is there a doctor on the plane? Well, we could say, is there somebody who knows biology very well on the stream? You can let us know. What's that part of the eye called? Maybe an optometrist. Actually, isn't the eye doctor's opening in the next phase? There you go.
Yes. I ordered contacts right before this whole thing started, but I never got them. So maybe they'll call me with my contacts are ready.
Yeah.
So I made some white, some light blue, and I just kind of extended the highlights around the back corner of the eye. And then now I'm taking the pure white and I added a dot to the eye, and that is the reflection of the light. And then I gave a little highlight above the top of the eyelid and a little bit below the eyelid. Now, this part we're going with the straight blue color. And oh darn, I forget what this is called. And it's the poof that's on top of their head. There's a specific name for it, and I knew it, but I can't remember it. And I'll have to go back to my notes because I actually wrote it down, but I don't remember. So it's just with your detail brush, you're just going to start at the middle of the head and you're going to draw 4 lines coming out in like a V shape. And then you're going to go back to your medium brush, pick up some of that straight blue, and then you're just going to dab like a curved line over his head. And then you're going to pick up some light blue and just dab on some highlights. And that's it. Believe it or not, we are finished.
Shocking. We finally got there. So far, the feedback's been great. You guys are so good about telling us what you think. And honestly, this is for you guys. So obviously, it's for as much for us as it is for you. So we want you to have a say in what we're painting and what we're choosing and all that. What I can do.
Or if this was like, please don't ever make us paint layers again.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's more than acceptable. So what we can do is I'll pause it there for a sec so you guys can just view.
I hope everyone enjoyed the Peacock. I know it was just something different, I thought.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've done, so the other thing that Jill and I had talked about a lot is we try not to do the same painting twice, as best as we can avoid it, obviously. And there's definitely some of these that we can do in person when we're able to do events in person again. But I think at the end of the day, it's really important to hear from you guys what you guys think. Was it too long? Was it too short? Is it enough feedback? And to be honest, I'm always in awe of how kind you guys are to us. I always get the most lovely feedback, whether it's constructive or just super positive. It means so much to us, and it kind of helps us keep going every week. We also, I forgot to tell you guys, we had a awesome, incredible team meeting with Paint by the Pints artists from literally across the country, the whole team. We were only missing 2 people, which is pretty incredible because there's a lot of us. And it was really great. It was nice to have our artists from Galway and Cork meet the Dublin artists who met the Mayo artists. It means so much to us, as a team. And it's really fun to kind of start playing around with different ideas that we have for you guys. Because obviously, I'd say we won't be in person doing events for a while, but that doesn't stop us from creating some fun and different things for you guys. So I'd say the one thing we'd love is if you guys could tell literally all your family and friends about the Guinness event next week. That's really important to us. Our friends over at Guinness Open Gate Brewery have been so amazing and so generous in what they're offering in the way of prizes, and we're trying to match that with the top prize being a free, tickets to Paint by the Pints as well for you and whoever you choose. And as well, obviously, a lot of you have been getting in touch about doing events. Jill, the amount of people turning 30 in isolation is insane. I think I've celebrated 4 already in the last 3 weeks, which is pretty insane.
Wow.
And actually, I have 2 more. That's the weekend that we're taking off. You're probably thinking, oh, they deserve a break. No, we're flat out with private events the weekend of the bank holiday. So, yeah, it's just a good chance for us to kind of catch up and focus on a few other things. And then we'll be back with these events. So that means that we have this event today. We have the Guinness event next week, which if you haven't already got your tickets, please do. And as we always say, if ticketing is a problem, please do get in touch with us. We don't want that to prohibit you from coming to our event. If that's not something that you can pay for right now, we understand. But at the end of the day, it's nice to be able to get back to donating to charity. We've missed that so much. It's such a fundamental part of what we're doing. And obviously, you guys building our community and seeing you guys together. And I love, after this, I'm going to sit down and look at all the Instagram posts that come in. It's just completely makes my entire weekend. It's all I talk about, especially with Jill. We love doing this for you guys. Isn't it great?
Yeah, that's I say it every week. That's my favorite part, is seeing everybody's painting all together.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say, I can show you guys some of the paintings we've done, which are kind of fun. You can let us know if you want to do some of these. Rosé on the beach. That was a fun one that was a 30th birthday we did a couple weeks ago. We even had someone from Australia on that one, which was cool. The time zone was hard, but we figured it out. Some people were painting in the middle of the night. Very good friends. You guys have some amazing friends out there. That's the other thing I've learned as we're going through this process of doing virtual events and timing and scheduling is there are some positives to being apart, but together, being able to do events like a 30th birthday. If it was in, we'll call Dublin, let's say it was in a Dublin pub, you'd only be able to have the people that are here. Whereas, if it was a normal day, because everyone's kind of at home already, you get a lot more people that you might not have had at the original event, which is nice. This was the detailed one we did last night. That was a lot of detail.
That's cute,
isn't it? It's like antlers and stuff. Again, I'm a bad weather woman. It's going the opposite direction of where I'm pulling it, but it's really cute. It's so colorful, and I definitely want to do this one again. This could be a good 2.5 hour one if you guys want to try that. God, yeah, I have 1,000 of them laying around. We always do. This is a good one for corporate, because a lot of times when people are doing team events, there's very, very, very beginners, and sometimes they just want to chat away. So it's better to not have as many details, so they can kind of focus on having fun and bonding with the group and less steps. That way we're not talking over them. But even last night's painting was really beautiful. People were talking away, and then I'd kind of tell them, oh, by the way, we do this. The other thing that's kind of nice about the private events we're doing is that they're over Zoom. So right now, Jill and I are talking, and I can see you guys on YouTube writing into us, and obviously on Instagram, which is amazing. But when we do the private events, they're over Zoom. It's a much more personal experience. So that's kind of fun too. Maybe it's something that we do going forward. We could do, if you guys are interested, for example, we have so many different artists that would love to be back and painting with you guys. So maybe we could do smaller Zoom sessions a couple of days a week, or whatever the demand is, I suppose. If we don't have you painted out already. But yeah, so I'm trying to think, Jill, any other news for this week?
Non-Paint by the Pine. My daughter's birthday's on Sunday.
Oh, lovely. Happy birthday, Ava. That's so exciting.
She will be 15.
Oh my goodness. That's a
I
fun
know.
age. Maybe not right now, but
Yeah.
maybe not for you, but it is a fun
Not for
age.
me.
Yeah. No, I definitely enjoyed being a teenager. I think I enjoy every phase. I was talking to a girl yesterday that we're planning her 30th birthday. And it's funny, you either are planning a surprise party for someone who's turning 30, or people are like, no, I'm planning my party for myself. This is my, from me to me, happy birthday to me. And I'm like, I love that. That's exactly how I'd be. I'm like, I know what I want to do. This is what we're doing. Guys, get on board, you know? Um, but with that, it's fun because we were saying, she was like, oh, maybe because we're in quarantine, like maybe it doesn't count that I'm turning 30. And I'm like, a lot of my older aunts and uncles have always said, like, teenage years were fun because, you're in high school. But as you go through, the 30s were their favorite, or the 40s were their favorite, the decades, you obviously don't know until you've been through them. But it's kind of fun to know that the best decade might not have even happened yet. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, I enjoyed my 30s.
Yeah.
I had a good 30s
Yeah,
decade,
exactly.
I suppose.
Exactly.
So now I'm starting on my 40s. So I'll be 41 this year.
That's awesome. No, it's nice. It is nice to be able to celebrate birthdays and all that in fun ways. So I hope you guys find a fun way to celebrate Ava's. What I'm thinking is I'm going to post on our Instagram, and you can message me on Facebook, or if you're like, I'm not a social media person, you can email me at paintbythepints@gmail.com and let us know what you're thinking in the way of painting ideas. So I know some of you sent in a few different ideas last week, and that's great. So Jill and I have those. But yeah, just keep the ideas coming. Let us know if there's a theme that you want. There's a few different ideas that I had in mind. So just want to make sure we're covering everything that you guys want to do. And we have a couple of weeks to go. So we have time and we have options. So that's pretty nice, I'd say. All right, guys. I'm thinking we'll leave you to it. I'd say you'll be painting for the next couple hours. Anyways, what do you think, Jill? Can you hear hair dryers going all over Ireland right now?
I know. I hope you all don't hate me. Like, that's all. I hope you're proud of yourselves and you love your piece, and I just hope you have fun with it. Like that's what it's about.
Yeah, absolutely. No, really, that's and like I said, it's for you guys. So let us know. So far, the feedback we've been getting on Instagram has been pretty positive. People like this one. Elephant one was a fan favorite. That got like a couple thousand views on our YouTube channel.
I love that one.
Yeah. So I'd say I'll leave you with the parting thought of, as you know, tonight's event, family friendly, it's free. Thank you so much to the people that got supporter tickets. It really is what is the only thing keeping us going right now. So we really, really appreciate that sincerely. And for those of you who have enjoyed tonight's event, all we ask is for you to pay it forward, whether it's literally calling your granny or somebody in isolation, cocooning. Maybe it's supporting a local restaurant in town, just whatever. And you know what the best thing to do right now is? Go and review your favorite restaurant, literally, as if it was open, and just say how wonderful it was, because that makes a difference. So definitely think about what you can do to pay it forward. Go do that. That's all we want from you guys. And thank you so much again for an amazing
Bake
week.
some cookies for your neighbor.
Yeah,
they'll
go
love
bake
that.
some cookies. Bake some cookies for me. I'm like a cookie monster. Anyways, on that note, we'll leave you guys. Thank you guys so much. And if you have any questions at all, just write into us. Let us know. Obviously, I'm going to end the YouTube stream, but you know how to find us. So whatever you need, come and find us, and we're happy to have you. All right. Thanks, guys. Happy
Thanks.
Friday.
Bye.
Enjoy your weekends. Bye. Until next week.